Welcome back. In today's episode, we're bringing new life to an empty storefront in our sim York. We're going to turn it from an eyesore to a beloved downtown pet store in this series that we created because I'm missing my hometown of New York City. Come on and let's get started. For those new to the series, we built our own New York City in a basic downtown. Then we took an entire street corner that we're going to build based on my experiences in the city. To catch up on this entire series, I'm going to put the links in the description down below. Today, I want to talk about the build, share some quick building tips and tricks, and a little bit about how Sim York compares to my real time in New York, and introduce you to some of the Sims living in the city. As always, this is going to come and go in waves because that's just how my brain works. And honestly, I think that's part of the fun. I want to talk to you first today about some cheats. Number one, the move objects cheat is my favorite. I turn it on before I start every single build. My game is super unstable and I can't preset my cheats like you see some other builders talk about or type them in at the start of my builds. I try that, and whenever I do, I get pink soup, crashing pandemonium. But move objects is like that old friend. I love it. I can put it on. I have no problem. So I recommend that everybody use the move object cheats. Why, you may say. This is a great little cheat because it allows you to place objects outside of the normal grid. For example, you can move mailboxes and trash cans. If you try to move them without it, you notice you can't. Also, talk about creative placement. I can place objects in unconventional locations or overlap them. Like if I want to create a fountain, I can place one little fountain and then maybe an object inside it to make it look awesome. But right now, if you look at my shops, they are so tiny. I am building in some seriously tight spaces, just like in New York, because we're talking New York real estate. Although these are my two bigger shops right here. I decided to build a pet store and I looked up places I used to visit in New York City along with my tipsy memory. And the thing you notice is that they pack every square inch of their store. Now, you see why I'm using the move object cheats. But really quickly, you notice there's no way I can clutter this place in our shop in real life because it's wall to wall. I want this store to be functional for my city Sims to come and buy their pets, but I want to capture the feeling. One of the main design choices for this build was the big front window, and that came from a decision of personal experience with pet stores in New York. Now, until pretty recently, you could still buy puppies and kittens directly from the pet shops in New York City. Back when my daughter both lived there, every once in a while, we'd have a rare Sunday off together and we'd go on these fantastic walks. We'd stop and of course get coffee and usually brunch. But then you'd always make your way past the local pet shop and there would always be a batch of puppies or kittens, not a batch like Pancake, but I mean a litter, playing in the front window, tumbling over each other. They were so precious and fuzzy, and there would always be a group of us and we'd be outside oohing and eyeing over them. Sometimes you'd go in and play with them, but it was just lovely. And I know that that no longer exists in New York, but in my mind, we had to have that big front window so that you could go and look at the puppies or the kittens. And you see, I even placed where you buy your pets so you could kind of look in the window and look at that. So it's a memory, but it's one of those that pulls at my heartstrings. And I think it's moments like that that sneak their way into our Sims builds, whether we realize it or not. So that's where the big window comes from. Not just a design choice, but a nod to a real life memory tucked in the Sim world that I'm building. The picture that I've thrown up a couple of times, I am pretty sure is the pet store that I remember. The pet store that I remember on 3rd Avenue that we used to go see with the puppies and the kittens in the window. And that's why I keep using that one. Anyway, it's been a couple of years, so it's a little bit hard to remember. Next, you're going to see horror of horrors, the window that I loved so much keeps popping out and I couldn't get it to sit properly. Even once I remove everything around the window, move objects, couldn't save me. So we end up bumping out the window and putting in a platform floor. And then my pet food bags are able to sit properly. I throw a couple of windows out the front and I do think it ends up looking nice. I wanted to still keep it like there was a big front window for the store, and that's what ends up happening with the window. And one of the next things is I'm gonna mess with the roof. I had all kinds of roofs on here. I cut a lot of it out. We end up just going with a flat roof. I think it looks nice. And then you're gonna watch me throw a ton of posters on the front of the window after I said I wanted to look through the window. And this was because I did not like the blue on the bottom of the floor. When it comes to platform floors, if you color them, whatever that color is, you have to keep, or you have to get rid of the platform and rebuild it. And I had spent so much time on this building. This is very chopped up, or this build would take a very long time. So I ended up putting the posters on there. I still think it ended up looking nice, even though it was not my original intent or design. And you'll have to let me know in the comments down below how you think it turned out. We did a little bit of lighting, and then I come inside and realize I don't have a bathroom. So I get rid of the fish tank. Funny thing is, you'll see next door, I'm doing an Asian fusion bar. We end up calling it City Walk. And I'd thrown one of the fish tanks over there so that I could build this horrible little bathroom. And I end up liking the fish tank so much over there, it stays. And I put a horrible little door that you could peek under in that bathroom. And I got such a kick out of myself thinking about people peeking under the door. I end up leaving it just because it makes me laugh every time I think about it. Oh, over in the City Walk, we have a fish tank and it is going to stay there. I don't know if maybe it's on consignment from the pet store, but I'm still trying to clutter as much as I can the walls and around the walls of the pet store, because I want it to feel cluttered without the floor being cluttered, so that we can see our Sims coming in here. If you wanted a quick sneak peek at further along, you can go to the description down below and go to my Patreon. I released a short video of how far we are with this, and you can see some sneak peeks at City Walk and where that is. So that's just a hint if you want to go over there. That is all free, by the way, because we are free over on my Patreon page. Anyway, you'd see I get a little bit OCD sometimes, so I noticed we did not have trim all the way around the side of this building, and that's just the way we're gonna go. As we get to the end here, I'm messing around with signs, something else I cut a lot out of. When we get to the end, you're gonna see Tipsy Nona's parents. So Tipsy Mommy. My mom, we call her Nona. My dad, we call Pop. So we're going to have Tipsy Nona, Tipsy Pop. They're coming in to buy their 2 dogs, because that's why we did the pet store next, was because I have them living in Sim York in our Queens area, and they came in to test out the pet store. And so they're here buying the pets. And check out other videos in the links in the description so you can see what we've been doing in Sim York. If you like it or have anything to add, please leave a comment down below. Tell me how you think I'm doing and what else we should be adding. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Happy simming, and bye-bye.